me ask you this. Should you archive everything before, or should you, what do you think?
That's a question for the experts here.
We all think.
Yeah, it depends. It depends on the strategy. So the main thing is that if you're doing a new implementation, normally your history is gone. Let's say it this way. So you cannot import any kind of history documents. So for finance, there's a small, let's say, possibility to migrate balances, history balances, but any kind of documentation is normally also not allowed to be migrated from a finance perspective in different countries. So there's also no possibility to migrate history things. So that means you can really start with a fresh system and get rid of all your old data, which is not needed anymore in that at that point. There are also a couple of different strategies or tools available where you can store your old data or keep it, let's say, available, for example. So
that makes sense.
Yeah.
In cloud, you can have the side-by-side scenario where you can, for example, create your own app and store, for example, your sales data, not all the data, but the data you need into a specific own app which you can build there, and then you can have access also to your old sales orders and then the sales data and a couple of it. And then, yeah, and there's multiple other tools that you can support here, or services that you can also use your data and put it on, let's say, to a service provider, and where you then can access the data again.
So here's a good question. Oh, go ahead. I was going to say, go ahead, Boris.
Well, I would claim topic archiving is relevant for system conversion. So for brownfield, that is, if we have a system conversion, it's a one-to-one relationship. We have one source system and it's completely been converted to SAP S/4HANA. That means everything that's in will be in the S/4 system. Maybe that's a drawback, because with a new implementation at Migration Cockpit, you can select what you take over. It may be less data, but maybe it's a benefit to say, well, in the S/4HANA system, we have the historical data that may be relevant for the one or the other scenario where we use AI to get better results. So archiving is relevant.
So if you're doing greenfield, you really don't have to archive, but if you're doing brownfield, you really should archive because you're dragging everything over.
Yeah. Exactly, and that's the point now concerning archiving and downtime considerations. Yeah, if we say we have a large source database, the larger the database is, the longer the downtime will be, or the standard approach. We have tricks there to reduce it, but that's an aspect to say, well, I reduce the database footprint by archiving, and that means I have less downtime. Nevertheless, afterwards, I'm still able from S/4HANA to access the archive to get the data, but I do not have to put them through the migration channel, creating downtime. That's the essential part for me.